From South Carolina Public Radio, this is the South Carolina Lede. I'm your host, Gavin Jackson, and this episode was recorded on January 17th, 2025. And just a programming note at the top, we will be off on Monday in observation of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and that holiday. That's right, it's a national holiday, and we're going to be observing it. And we'll just drop our new episode for the week on Tuesday, a little bit later on Tuesday, as you will. So stay tuned for that. But in this episode, we have made it through the first week of the legislative session. Yes, thank you. Wow, it was so much work. Actually, there was a lot to do and some surprises along the way and new friends too. And when I say surprises, I mean bombshells. Talking the forensic audit on the $1.8 billion accounting discrepancy on the state books. This is about as exciting as accounting gets, and even still, it's going to be a little tricky. I need you guys to bear with me, though. We have plenty of fallout from this. In the Senate, members kicked off debate on their new school voucher bill, and the House took enlightening testimony on a utility reform bill. So plenty of things that we have previewed are now moving. Yes, things are moving. And we're here to help you keep up. It's hard to do, but that's what you have us for. Take my hand on this journey. Come with me and you'll see a land of pure legislation. Yes, that's my land right now. And to come with us on this trip, I need you to call. I need to know who's with me on this trip, y'all. Come on, y'all. Give me a call. 803-563-7169. How's dry January going? How are your resolutions going? It's midway through the month. I need to know these things. 803-563-7169. Keep your head up if you've broken a resolution. It's okay. We got time. Are you moisturizing? It's cold out there. Give me a call. Give you some tips. 803-563-7169. The biggest news this week was a forensic audit report on that misplaced $1.8 billion. Yes, our first billion-dollar boondoggle of this episode.
What?
Now, let me break it down for you. Back in November 2022, state financial officials revealed a restatement that decreased reported cash in state coffers by $3.5 billion. This is 2022. Now, Senate hearings took place and looked into the matter, and now disgraced Comptroller General Richard Ekstrom resigned in April 2023 after being elected to that spot for 20 years. Now, Ekstrom said that the annual comprehensive financial review exaggerated the state's cash balances for a decade by double counting the money sent to colleges and universities. No money was missing, no one got hurt, we didn't lose any money, but it was an egregious error for someone who's over the state's books and was covered up for years. As a result of that financial boondoggle, another was uncovered. Second billion-dollar boondoggle. This boondoggle, $1.8 billion. That was also a victim of the transition to the state's new accounting system, SCIS, years prior. Now, this forensic report that was released this week says that the $1.8 billion represents the net cash balance of thousands of journal entries, the ultimate intent of which were to allow the state treasurer's office to balance the bank general ledger accounts in the SCIS system to the cash balances maintained in individual banks. However, this did not go as intended, and that pass-through account accumulated the $1.8 billion cash balance, cash in quotation marks, because it's not cash, gang, right? We were all like, oh, is this missing $1.8 billion? What is it? Da-da. It's just kind of on paper. There's no extra $1.8 billion for you or for me. That's okay. Stay with me here because I'm going to land this plane at our first stop, and that is because $1.6 billion of that is not cash. It can't be spent, can't be appropriated. And the remaining $200 million does not represent cash that is in excess or incremental to the funds that is under the supervision of the state treasurer's office. So that $200 million is included in the cash balance reported by the treasurer and belongs to the general fund, so the general budget. Now, like every great boondoggle, you're still paying for it. That's right. $3 million of your money has gone to this forensic audit. And you're also paying the treasurer's office legal fees in upwards of $300,000 a month because of his complicity in this situation, along with the Comptroller General's office and the state auditor. Also, state officials have confirmed a Securities and Exchange Commission investigation into this cluster, which could also impact our state's credit ratings, which could then cost you more money.
That's hot.
So fake money now becoming real money. How fun is that? Now, armed with the facts of this report, which goes into greater detail and includes recommendations to remedy this from happening in the future, lawmakers and the governor have been reacting to the report, and some have their own recommendations. Starting first with State Representative Heather Bauer, who's a Democrat from here in Columbia.
I just filed articles of impeachment to begin the process of removing our current treasurer, Curtis Loftus, from office. What we have discovered is years of sweeping accounting errors under the rug in hopes that they would just disappear. We have currently to date spent millions of dollars because of his errors. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars each month on lawyer fees and auditor fees. And to correct these issues is going to cost us even more.
You may say, whoa, impeachment? Hey, that's a bit much. Well, Treasurer Curtis Loftus did make misstatements under oath to the Senate subcommittee investigating this matter last year. You may remember this interaction with Loftus and Senator Mike Fanning last April.
I'm just curious, the $1.8 billion, could we withdraw it today?
Yeah.
Is it real?
I'll get it cash for you.
Is it real money that I could touch?
Yes.
Or that the balance was accruing interest, as Loftus told Senator Thomas McElveen.
But you've also, and correct me if I'm wrong, you've also stated that some of the interest generated has been spent by the General Assembly?
Yes.
Off the 1.8? Mm-hmm. But I think you agree with the senator from Georgetown earlier that if indeed some of that money is owed to some particular agencies or entities, they'd be owed the interest as well, correct?
That's not a problem.
That's not a problem?
We just call it back. There's money coming in all the time, and it wouldn't
call
be
it back? Wouldn't that create an even bigger accounting problem then?
No, it would go if somebody received money that they weren't supposed to. We don't just go in and take it. We work it out and tell them what we're doing. If it went to the general fund's receiving funds all the time, and we would call from there.
Now Loftus is saying,
I'm Curtis Loftus, your state treasurer, and I wanted to share an important message with you regarding the final report by AlixPartners and its results. Let me be very, very clear. This report confirms that there is no mystery bank account with $1.8 billion in it. There is no missing money, and all cash and investments are accounted for. I want to reassure you, the citizens of South Carolina, that you can be confident that the state's money is safe. We thank AlixPartners for their efforts, which have validated what we've known all along. We, along with our state partners, look forward to reviewing the report in its entirety and helping institute the changes to the system as necessary. Thank you.
As he says there, instituting changes to the system as necessary. One change Republican Senator Larry Grooms, who oversaw the budget hearings, would like to see is a new treasurer. Him and Bauer have that in common, but he just wants Loftus to resign, not get impeached. And he cited Loftus's misstatements under oath, lashing out at lawmakers last year during that hearing, and the fact that they are using hundreds of thousands of dollars of interest payments on public dollars to cover legal fees for a mistake overseen in part by Loftus's office. Again, not to mention what the SEC may find.
We suspected where it originated. That's what we publicized. We've introduced legislation, at least with the auditor's office, and we expect to release or introduce some legislation fairly soon that would follow some of the recommendations of the forensic auditing team.
House Speaker Merle Smith did not back any calls for impeachment or Loftus's resignation. Rather, he wants a House Ways and Means subcommittee to begin looking into the audit's findings and hear from the players themselves under oath, which could happen as soon as early February.
And I think we've got to go through this, and we've got to find out who made mistakes and why they made mistakes, and we have anecdotal evidence of that, but we need to hear from the players in this to find out what and why all this occurred.
The subcommittee had its first meeting on Wednesday, where Lexington Republican Representative Micah Caskey agreed with the Speaker's course of action.
We are going through this deliberately and methodically. In this business, there's a lot done for political purposes, but at the end of the day, our responsibility is to govern this state and ensure we do what's best. And unfortunately, that's not always conducive to quick action. People this day and age seem to want to have a press conference every moment and put out a tweet. I get it. But what we've got to do is get to the bottom of this really serious and big and, quite frankly, complicated problem.
AKA let the House Dems scream and shout on some red meat here, while House Republicans go by the book, dot all the I's and cross all the T's before drawing the ire of Loftus and his social media following. Now, the governor is also not calling for Loftus to resign, saying multiple factors were in play here, but that recommendations need to be implemented to prevent this from happening again. I asked him about the SEC investigation and its potential impact on our AAA credit ratings.
We hope that those investigators will understand what happened, and because it was an accounting error and no criminal conduct, no wrongful intent, no intent to make an error at all, but just errors sometimes happen. Unfortunately, this was a big one, and it doesn't reflect favorably on anybody, but we need to understand that errors do happen. Innocent errors do happen, and this was one of them. Unfortunately, this was one involving state accounts that have many billions of dollars in them, which blows it up.
Now, the SEC does not comment on ongoing investigations, and I've also filed a FOIA request for any public information available regarding this boondoggle. The ratings agencies are aware of this situation, including the agency Fitch, which said in a note last May, quote, accounting restatements and auditor reports on shortcomings in financial controls can be an indication of management weakness, quote. That's a polite business dig right there, which has rippled. But so far, the harshest language has come from Grooms, Bauer, and freshman Charleston Democratic Senator Ed Sutton, who joined Bauer in calling for the impeachment of Loftus.
And the big problem that we have is now the SEC is looking into this. And if our bond rating takes a hit here, it's you, the taxpayers, that are going to pay for that error that the Treasurer's office made. And to me, that is not acceptable. We need accountability here, and we need a new team to come in here and help us resolve this mess.
Yes, this mess will continue to follow us throughout the session. Boondoggle number 3. It seems we're returning to the failed expansion of the VC Summer nuclear station. The promise of constructing 2 new reactors at the plant in Fairfield was mired in cost overruns, construction problems, bankruptcies, corporate greed, and even fraud. From 2008 till it was shuttered in 2017, totaling $9 billion in waste, fraud, and costs. Yes. A lifetime ago, but memories fade and nuclear construction costs only get cheaper. Actually, no, I'm being told now it's more expensive. But this time, it won't be the SCE&G, now Dominion, or Santee Cooper ratepayers covering the upfront costs like they did thanks to a bill rushed through the State House, the Base Load Review Act. Oh, yes. It's such a beautiful ring to it. I haven't said these words in a while. That was pushed through in 2007. Under the guise of the state needing more energy and less regulation on how rates would be raised for construction costs. Now, ASAP, pass this, and they did. As a result, well, we got a nice big old boondoggle, folks. And then legislators reformed the state-owned Santee Cooper in 2021 and brought it under partial control of the Public Service Commission. On Wednesday, Santee Cooper President and CEO Jimmy Statton and others were before a House LCI subcommittee on Speaker Merle Smith's utility bill H 3309, which is similar to one that was passed by the House last year and died in the Senate. But Stanton brought up a new development on the potential future of VC Summer, a request for proposals to gauge interest from outside parties on the future construction of reactors 2 and 3.
Longer term, we will be issuing an RFP next week to gauge interest in the VC Summer 2 and 3 site. You heard a little bit about VC Summer 2 and 3 from Keller just a moment ago. Santee Cooper does not plan to be the owner, nor do we intend to be the operator of whatever comes there. We do believe there are groups out there that are interested in potentially completing the work at VC Summer. We feel it is our responsibility and just the right thing for us to do to facilitate moving forward, and we think it will benefit our customers, and we think it will benefit the people of South Carolina.
What's old is new again. At least that's what energy-hungry big tech is thinking for its never-ending need for data centers, computing power, as well as advanced manufacturers and the growing needs of a growing state. In fact, Stanton laid out the need for such generation.
Santee Cooper, we continue to see incredible population growth. We saw a record number of customers added in 2023. Quite frankly, 23, 24, and 22 are the most customers we've added. Those are the top 3 years of customer adds for Santee Cooper. The territories that we serve from a wholesale perspective, the cooperatives across the state are seeing similar types of retail growth. And on the industrial and large load customers, we're currently monitoring about 21 potential projects across our wholesale and retail systems with a potential need in excess of about 2,500 megawatts.
There is no denying that the state needs more energy for its growing needs, but the memories of VC Summer and ye old bait and switch of the Baseload Review Act pushed by SCE&G officials still haunts those who will admit they voted for it, if you can find them. Senate Majority Leader Shane Massey, who got into office months after the Baseload Review Act was passed, said Wednesday evening at a state Chamber of Commerce event that, quote, "The consequences of decisions like this are generational. These are things that if we mess them up, they have really long-term consequences. So us taking some time on this to make sure we get it right is a benefit to you," quote. And that's another reason why several Senate members worked so much in the offseason on their version of this bill that is now going through the House. So we're going to see the Senate version soon enough. But then they're going to get, they're going to merge together. They're going to be happy, quote unquote, happy conference committee report at some point. I say all that to say, we're going to wait and see, guys. Everyone loves the old wait and see. That's a promise from me to you, Boondoggles. They're here to stay 2025, guys. Yeah. Promises made, promises kept. Speaking of the Senate, the school voucher bill was the focus of the chamber on Wednesday and Thursday, as Senate Education Committee Chairman Greg Hembry spearheaded debate on his bill S-62, which proposes using South Carolina educational lottery dollars to skirt the constitutional prohibition of using public dollars for private schools, something the state Supreme Court upheld last September in a ruling in regards to a prior voucher bill passed last year. The debate will resume when the chamber comes back on January 28th. Yes, taking a week off there. That's because both the House and Senate will be in perfunctory session next week as committees work on bills to get on the calendars for each chamber. So what does that sound like? Committee work? Yeah, give me a little riff. Yeah, baby, perfunctory. They're still in session, but every time a bill is filed, like the 600 bills that were pre-filed just in the House alone, they are read across the desk, and then they are assigned to one of the chamber's committees, where their chairman determined whether the bill gets a subcommittee hearing, and then it will go to a full committee, and then typically out to the chamber's calendar. And then if it's lucky, it'll get some floor debate, and then a vote. And then it moves to the other chamber, and they got to do it all over again. That's how a bill sort of becomes a law. And then if they don't like the way that the versions are, then they have to fight over it in a conference committee, and then maybe it will make it to the governor's desk. No guarantees, but that's democracy in action. 2 words. But speaking of education, could Christianity's 10 Commandments be coming to every public school classroom near you soon? Not likely, but Anderson Republican Representative Thomas Beach hopes so. That's why he filed H. 3217. It is one of the top priorities of the South Carolina Family Caucus, which held a press conference Tuesday. Here's Beach.
About the 10 Commandments, the foundation of all Western law, and especially our laws which derive from English common law, all come from the 10 Commandments. If the citizens of this country don't learn this fundamental aspect of their civilization birthright, their civic education isn't complete.
Now, this is a bill that's going through other state houses across the country, Republican state houses especially, and we've also seen this try go in place in Louisiana, but courts have overturned it. So definitely looking forward to some sort of confrontation with courts here, which is kind of another reason why it's not going to probably see any action like I alluded to moments ago. In fact, House Speaker Smith and all of his committee chairs held a press conference on Tuesday after session, and that included House Education Committee Chairwoman Shannon Erickson, who is a member of the Family Caucus. Remember, this is the Family Caucus, conservative family values, not the Freedom Caucus, far right. There is some overlap, but Erickson said this when I asked her if this bill dealing with the 10 Commandments was a priority for her committee.
I'm happy to entertain bills that come across, but it's not on my top 10 to get done. The largest piece right now is to look to that choice issue to restore those services that were ripped away from some children in this past year. That's the first thing I'm going to work on.
Like you heard there, she's got a lot going on, including a lot of work she did in the off season on a bill that died last session, H 3196, called the Educator Assistance Act, which would amend laws dealing with professional certificates issued by the State Board of Education, teachers' contracts, professional development days, salaries, and benefits. So a big deal there, some issues that she wants to deal with before getting to, I guess, a headline bill dealing with religion in public schools. But on the way out, Governor Henry McMaster has ordered that flags fly at full staff on Monday for President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration. They're currently at half staff following the passing of former President Jimmy Carter on December 29th. His move follows others made by other Republican governors. Welcome to the wind down section, our little break from the news. We're glad you're here, along with A.T. Shire, lead podcast producer.
Here I am, folks.
Here he is. He's our good boy. He's avoiding getting sick.
I'm doing my best. I'm going to work to not get sick because it's been two straight weeks of sick child. It's a lot. She got the croup right now, which is... I don't understand why they give names to is a cough, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like colic, it's just crying, you know? Like what are we doing here, folks?
So you're coming to work to avoid it, whereas everyone else is sending their sick kid to daycare so you can get it.
Which it's driving me crazy. Yeah, I was texting Gavin this morning complaining about where people they sort of lie to you about saying like
a little bit.
It's good for the kid.
The immunity system.
I get the idea behind that.
Yes.
But it's sort of just cover for, well, I'm going to go ahead and send my sick kid to daycare. Anyway, Gavin, we do have a call.
Ooh.
We got a call, and it's from someone who can probably relate to what I'm dealing with right now because he's a few months ahead of me. But if you're ready, this is really quick. All right, here we go. You have to listen sharp. You may miss it.
Okay.
Oh, wait, what? This isn't who, what, when? Okay, whatever. Vince Cold-Blugo calling in just to say, go Jaguars.
Such a relevant call
very
there, Vince.
Mean. Thank you very much, Vince. He probably just called. He's talking about who, what, when, the quiz show that I work on. And he's probably just calling in so I mention here that he did win an episode of Who, What, When.
Okay.
So this is sort of a backhand brag by Vince.
But Vince, just come out and say it, baby.
Yeah,
you can brag on yourself.
He won. He did. He won fair and square. He was real good.
Does he get something?
Yeah, he's going to get a fanny pack. If you win Who, What, When, you get a fanny pack. Yeah,
I'll probably see him wearing that bad boy out at Beer Color because that's where I always see Vince Cold-Blugo and his brother, body double.
If you want to confront either of the Cold-Blugos, you have a pretty good chance of seeing them at Beer Keller in Columbia.
Yeah.
They are there. They live there. It's second home.
Different voices, though. They're gonna have to speak so you know which one's which.
I would say completely different attitudes. I can tell which one is which from, and I've done this, across a parking lot from like 200 yards away because I always say, if we're talking cartoon logic, the evil twin always has like a goatee or facial hair, right? That's a given. That's a rhetorical question. I'm not asking you, Gavin. Evil twin has facial hair.
Sure. Yeah, cartoon logic. I'm just trying to think. I mean, I briefly had a Colin Briefel has a mustache. Maybe we just
evil?
switch.
You don't know. But in this
he has a left hand, though. So
in this,
left-handed
left, scary. In this case, Joe, Vince's brother, he's got a goatee. He's the facial hair one. He is so much more relaxed and cooler than Vince. Vince is the evil twin.
Or the devil is playing tricks on you, and he's trying to be cool and relatable and chill. And Vince is like, "No, you're not listening."
He's got this Rasputin Svengali hold over
like one
me.
of our favorite.
He's a silver tongue.
The Simpsons With the, wait a minute, he has been the evil one the whole time when Bart has the different scar.
Yeah, the different scar.
Can I more fish heads, please?
Yeah, though the one in the attic is the good one. Yeah, I would say more like Grima Wormtongue. It's hold over Theoden, King of Rohan, in Lord of the Rings. Okay,
yeah.
Once you break that, okay,
Sure.
get your forked tongue behind your teeth. All right,
your elderflower.
Elderflower plays a big role in much fantasy.
I was reading something on this recently.
Have you ever seen The Lord of the Rings, Gavin?
I've seen the first one.
Okay, yeah, we got to get.
I'm not.
You don't even know what Helm's Deep is.
Well, I don't think I'm allowed to even speak about that. But
Helm's Deep's so good.
Please
sound the horn, please.
I don't feel comfortable having this conversation. I would watch it, but you like the intricacies of these books and Dune, and I'm just like, I'm like trying to keep up with everyone's names.
You
that
don't
aren't
like
real.
weird names.
No, I'm
Gavin
not
is on
against
record.
it.
You are against
It's just
it.
hard to keep in my head, and I'm just like, who was on what planet, and how? Who's
Gavin hates
Atreides family.
He
was
hates Thufir Howat.
Okay, easy. Easy, Hufflepuff.
He hates Mentats.
I think I can say Hufflepuff here. Safely?
Now, those are stupid books, okay? Those are dumb books. Those are stupid books. My hottest take that I think is incisive and correct is that millennials like Harry Potter only because it's the last book they all read.
Oh.
It's true. It hurts to hear, but
Call
it's
us
true.
if you're a millennial.
Yeah, defend Harry Potter.
Please?
Defend
Guys,
your
you still
wizard
use
high school.
You guys still use your cell phones, right? Call if you're a millennial.
Well, they only text, but which you can do.
You can do 803-563-7169.
If you're scared of a FaceTime call out of the blue,
I just can't
give
do
us
it.
a text.
I hate a FaceTime call.
Honestly, I don't care. I don't care one bit.
I don't need to see you while I'm talking. You're going to see just me holding it lower and lower because I don't want to hold a phone.
Okay, this is the last thing I'll say before I'll let all you listeners go for the weekend. During the Eagles game,
there you go.
My brother FaceTimed my dad.
Okay.
And my dad just sat there, not speaking to my brother. They weren't speaking, just on the phone. And Caitlin was becoming irate because of the juju. And it was the third quarter, and my brother said, the game's basically over. And Caitlin went through the roof.
Sure.
Angry. She got so mad that she goes, hang up on him. Hang up on him. My dad thought she was joking, and she went into the kitchen. And I went to my dad, and I go, Dad, Caitlin is not joking. She's very angry.
Totally.
You need to hang up on Nat right now.
You don't just say that at that point. I mean, I remember I watched part of that game. I watched the first half, and it started so strong.
Yeah.
And I could have that in my heart, but I would never verbalize. It's like, say, when you're, we're pretty easy day, and then everyone's like, you're going to jinx us, which I don't believe in jinxes, but I just stop saying things because everyone says that, and I don't care.
I had to.
You're going to jinx us.
I have not seen Caitlin that mad in quite some time.
But yeah, I mean, we're going to hold, I get maybe your dad is in solidarity with your brothers because you're holding, but I don't need.
He just said they weren't speaking. There was a 5-minute where Caitlin goes, "Is Nat still on the phone?"
It doesn't make sense to me, but it's good for them to bond like that.
I'm not scared. I'm not scared of the calls, but please call it if you are scared. We'll be gentle. Anyway, Gavin, end it, baby.
So beautiful there. You guys can always give us a shout like Vince did at 803-563-7169, and you can stay up to date with the latest news on scetv.org and southcarolinapublicradio.org, where you can also find the State House Gavel. We love that. And don't forget to support your local newspapers. The South Carolina Lede is a production of South Carolina Public Radio. Our producer is A.T. Shire. Amy Crouch is our supervising producer. Sean Birch is our executive producer. This podcast is produced with support from PRX and is made possible in part by a grant from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, as well as listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina. For the South Carolina Lede, I'm Gavin Jackson. Be well, South Carolina.
You're going to be so well, South Carolina. Oh, my God. That's why he has a podcast, folks.